Document something's over here. Thank you.
As soon as we get our live streaming. There you go. That's first.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if we're gonna have anybody from the joint venture team or other public.
Still only one participant in the room.
You ready?
Ready to go.
Okay, so, I'll call to order this March meeting of the Albany Pool Communities Corporation. Roll call, I'm here, Bill Simcoe from Albany and Chris Powers is here from Albany. Gary's here from Cohoes. We don't, let's see, we have Bill Smart here from Rensselaer, Andrew Golden from Troy, Maggie from Green Island. We've got Mark and Tom from CRPC, and I think we don't have anybody on our Zoom connection today.
I'm good.
So,
Do you want to make the first item of business that amending the agenda?
amending the agenda,
Mm-hmm.
I think we needed to include in the agenda having the certificate of non-compliance.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
So the motion would be adding an action related to the certificate of non-compliance.
Yeah, in regard to our Beaver Creek satellite treatment facility project. Have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Gary, second?
Second.
Andrew, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So, since we just mentioned that, maybe we could take that up first and see, I know everybody got a copy of it. We had this problem of our electrical contractor Castleman walking off the job, and we're now we now passed our March date for completion, and so we needed to send this in. I have talked to the DEC already in regard to this, and so I think they're not going to put us into stipulated penalties yet in regard to this. But we just need to be showing that we're trying to make up ground as quickly as we can. So we've attached an action plan. We have to get, dates lined up, and we got lots of different parties involved with controls and equipment and things that all have to happen before we're fully operational. But we want to be operational and get into disinfecting this recreational season, which starts in May. And we have to do, the first year is sort of a trial period where we have this dose response testing we have to do. So at the end of the year, beginning of next year, we have a wet weather operating plan that says we prove the concept of getting our water removals in Ontario with what we're doing. So that's it. I don't know that we need I don't know that we need any resolution in regard to this, but
No, I think the the signatures of the communities on the paperwork suffices.
so I guess we have everybody here except for we need Waterville's signature.
Mhm.
You can help get that.
Oh, well, happy to bird dog water elite.
If it really would be due tomorrow, so that's what we're hoping to get it in tomorrow.
Okay.
So then the next thing on the agenda is the minutes. People taking a look at the minutes. Does anybody have any corrections to the minutes. If there's no corrections, can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Gary, second, Maggie?
Sure, I wasn't present at the meeting, so I'm not sure if I.
Oh,
So I'm not saying it.
Andrew.
Yeah, I'll second that, yeah. I
We were
was
here.
Sorry.
You were here, so,
physically here.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Tom, financial report,
Well, we're pretty much in the same boat. We're about 67% complete on the program or budget for the year and 66% overall. $21,000 in the bank, of which we're gonna spend money out to West and Co, which will bring it down to about 12,000. And that matches the net of the community's balances. Although the community's balances run from a negative due to the corporation of 3.4 million and a 3.6 million to the health corporation.
so any questions in regard to the financial? I don't think we actually need any resolution, so that's
Just a report.
that's just it. Vendor invoices are the next thing. I think we had a couple of late
There were a number of
late
ones
additions.
added as well as today, so there should be a pass around sheet or an included sheet that has two invoices on, one from Cohoes and one from West and Co, along with the original.
So, yeah, Gary's payment for Columbia Phase 2 got added this morning. And I think Weston Company,
Is that in,
It's in mine.
it's in yours? It's
Mhm.
not mine. Okay, well, that's because I need mine, sorry.
and
So the one for the Weston Company is 9250 and Cahoes is 916,692.94.
could I have a motion to pay the invoices?
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Maggie. Could I have a second?
I'll second it.
Andrew, all in favor? Then EFC distributions, maybe there are copies of this, but I won't bring it up. Sorry. Really, we're having, every 2 weeks, we're having a meeting on Tuesday afternoon with EFC and going through. And this spreadsheet is just every financing that's involved with long-term control plan. And really we're trying to get things cleaned up with some of the initial tranches of financing. And we have been getting some things cleared, and particularly with some Cohoes projects, getting Arcadis and CHA and stuff on some of the older projects.
We'll throw it up on the screen just give me a second to get it.
So the yellows are some that we're still seeking to get some reimbursement on. The kind of grayish are some recent distributions that we got from EFC. And if you scroll down kind of to the bottom of this whole rigmarole, you kind of see what remains. On our first tranche, we still have $566,000 available. And I'm trying to work out with Paul how we're gonna draw that down. There's a number of items that we can still draw on. On our O1, which is the next column over, we still have Fleet Street to close out with Newcastle stuff with the hose. And I think there's still some Troy projects that we needed to get dispersed against that O1. And if you scroll kind of back up closer to the top on this, I guess the other thing is we're getting things cleared on our OO and our O1 financing. Then over on the column that's Troy with OO and O1, you should be able to be drawn down on the things that were dispersible that we're drawn down on. It means they must have been dispersible so that, and Paul is supposed to be working on getting those things
Okay,
squared away. I think he was trying to get ours squared away, then he could know that he could just plug those in and get yours. So we just need to get the supplemental certs in and
okay,
Do you want me to forward you this cheat sheet?
yes, please.
I know you've got a new controller, Dylan Spring.
Yep, yeah, he just started maybe, been there for about a month, maybe a month and a half.
So if we need to meet with your controller to talk to him about the long-term control plan, I'm sure Mark and I would be glad to.
Okay,
Well, sometimes less is more.
yeah,
If we just show them like, here's what you can draw down on, and you can help with the paperwork.
right, and that might be enough for him to, cause he's, obviously, just getting into this whole thing, he's still pretty swamped and doesn't really know quite what's going on yet, so, I'm having, we're working on some stuff for, financing for things at the water plant. I'm trying to settle with our budget and trying to close out 2023. This might just, might make his head explode, I don't know, but,
We don't want to send it for.
right. But, yeah, I agree,
Yeah.
we can start to work on that.
And also they explain, hey, they're gonna ask for this money, but you really have to give it to Cahoes.
Right.
Right, and then yeah, that'll really do it, yeah.
You have to give it to other parties because of this IMA.
Mhm.
That's the thing. Just
Okay,
like I had to explain that to Chris because he didn't want to do it. so.
You'll blame somebody.
yeah,
Um, So that's what we're doing, like every 2 weeks, trying to get more and more of this stuff cleared and wrapped up and try not to have the same answers every 2 weeks. It's like-
right,
But Paul Johnson would like to, they'd like to wrap these things up. I know on their Troy's OO, that went long term, so EFC would really like to get that
Yeah.
dispersed as much as possible.
okay,
I think eventually it gets drawn down and they'll ask whether you want to apply that to the principal.
Yeah.
okay.
But I think there's too much left on it right now for them to want to do that, and it would complicate trying to figure out what got paid against it, so
Okay,
we would want to do that. So we are working with EFC on these things, and mostly I think troubles are with Troy's getting stuff dispersible. Which I think between you and Greg,
yeah, I'll reach out to him.
figure that out. The other thing in regard to EFC was we needed to have Van Buren Street's contract so that it was amended with the new
Yep,
EFC language.
yeah, so Darcy's working on that with Louise to get that situated with those new requirements for that. I'll reach out to Greg to see where that is. And I know we're gonna start meeting like every Tuesday afternoon, I think, now that it hasn't kicked off yet, but we're getting close. Joe from Louise called me this morning. I haven't called him back yet. But I think, things are gonna start picking up down there. So he wants to do some hydro excavation next week, start to play around a little bit, so, I'll call him, get that situated, we'll get the other stuff done, and, it'll be good.
Yeah, well, one thing to keep in mind is, in regard to this utilization stuff, is EFC looks at anything you put in your schedule of values. They want to know that you've tried to get DPE participation with, so. So it's important that they get that set up before they.
Before they start next week, yeah, I gotcha. Okay, right, I figured, because kind of when we talked, all that paperwork stuff needs to get situated before they, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's some special way contractors need to set up their schedule of values, but if you can make yourself some trouble depending on what you put in it. The EFC will be looking for some participant. Our Tidegate project, which isn't part of the long-term control plan, but apparently Kelly put down site work as part of it, but there's like minuscule amount of site work, but then the EFC wanted to know, did you solicit from DBE? Type of contractor, so just a thought in regard to how that goes, but every line in the schedule of values, they look for participation.
Okay.
Project updates, I guess our action plan kind of tells you where we are with Beaver Creek. It's really like 98% complete, and we're just trying to get the last $1 million worth of work done with electrical contractor and startup activities. And it's really close.
Painfully close.
And an associated project that isn't part of the long-term control plan is we're gonna be doing some work in the ravine next to where the treatment facility is. It was sort of a benefit to make it more park-like in the ravine next to it, which really had been kind of a sad spot, because not only was it kind of overrun with vegetation and stuff, but we get some sewage spilling to the surface sometimes during storms into that ravine. But now that area has been raised, the structures that were in there are now raised higher, and there's a plan to have constructed wetlands in there and some pathways for people to be going in and enjoying, and some educational things so that the adjacent school would be able to use it for some educational purposes.
Whatever happened to the Buttermilk Falls whitewater rafting flume?
I think I don't think we wanted to open, daylight the Patroon combined sewer. So that's Beaver Creek. Now, we did close on our final financing. Albany did this last week, which means we have now the money for the Van Buren Street project and Manor Avenue and Little C. And I know you've been looking for grant money on Little C project.
We got denied.
You got denied?
Yep, WQIP. They said no. We requested a meeting as to why they said no. They said they'll get back to us.
Well, that's disappointing.
Yeah, it is, and it's surprising because typically all the consent order projects, when you put in for WQIP, they typically give you something.
Don't they give you like 1,000 points for?
That's why I don't understand. I really don't. So I want them to explain it. Of course, like I said, they haven't even given us a date of when we can meet them. They just said, we'll get back to you.
Well, do they sometimes want you to be closer to construction with that? Do you really have to reapply for next year's?
Well, we are gonna be reapplying,
Yeah,
all right, but, we've got the signed contract and everything else, or so Arcadis is already into design. We've gotta have plans and approvable plans and specs by October this year. So I really don't get it, because with the paperwork, with any of the grants, including WQIP, by the time you get done fooling around with the actual grant documents and get all the signatures and everything else, you're into next year.
oh, yeah, the WQIP, it takes
Forever.
and now they switched to this SFS
Yes,
system.
which unfortunately, my grants person knows about it. I do not, and I do not want to. So,
Okay,
You're that kind of Luddite? You're just gonna choose not to learn it?
Correct.
Okay, that's your choice.
Yes,
Yeah, well, our main contact about that Bill Early, he seems to.
oh, Bill's good.
He's good, but he's, I guess the SFS change from Grants Gateway has not been too easy for easy.
It's not surprising. It's-
It's okay, so try again.
Yeah, we'll try again.
And aren't they not awarding all the WQIP money that they have to award?
I don't know. Yeah, I really don't get it. I was shocked. So,
So, no, not yet. Try
Yeah.
again. But that's, sort of our board's attitude is, gee, there's all this talk about grants and Leah and Bill, and then we find out we'd have to do a market rate financing. Is that what we're
Yeah.
gonna do? They don't wanna do that. I mean, it's still, our financial folks still say it's still better than going out of the bond market yourself, but it just doesn't seem like, doesn't
Yeah.
seem right.
it's not what everyone thought it was. It seems to be like a little deviation from, and I don't understand why they're doing that when supposedly everyone's trying to get this money pushed out. So we get the stuff under construction. Well, then why are you putting up all these hurdles? I really don't get it.
So, in terms of projects, the main one that's gonna be going on is Van Buren Street. And, there's very little left on Fleet Street.
Right, we're holding more than enough money. And it's only because we want to get Newcastle and their subs back on the job, which we're promised it'll be hopefully in the next few weeks, maybe, we'll see. Some of it depends upon the weather, because it's some landscaping and stuff like that. But it's been tough with these guys. Even when you withhold payments,
Yeah.
they don't do anything.
I don't know, they're still going after projects. I think they had some shakeup there, so they.
Oh, they did.
Did everything. We have 2 or 3 jobs that they were low bidder on and then wouldn't respond,
Yeah,
That's,
you know, wouldn't go through the due diligence on the WMB stuff, wouldn't do any of that, just nothing. So we gotta and fire them, move on.
Is. Well, then, Troy has a cross street project that has to be done. I don't know if if you were gonna be moving ahead with that project.
yeah, I talked to Greg Bold a little bit about it, and they were gonna put something together as far as like a tentative plan for what they would have suggested for the rest of the project, but I can follow up with them on that. I haven't heard anything.
And
I'll add that to my note sheet here.
so our financing's in place now for that, so. And I think your financing's in place for that, so. And we have these 2 CSO regulators that we're gonna eliminate and just make bigger connections to the interceptor. And they're further out, like 2006 and 26 and 27, but we'll probably be moving ahead with them as quickly. Here again, we might want to submit them for WQIP or grants, once we get some plans in place. And then we'll be all done.
we'll be all done with what's on the project list.
So, we should have a celebration. completion of the long-term control plan.
Mhm.
I've teed up Bill to give a presentation to all the environmentalists of the Hudson River Estuary Advisory Group down in, I think it's gonna be at Norrie Point. To hear about this project.
Just down around Rhine Cliff, right?
Mhm. And, you know, we should celebrate it. It's a big deal. So I'm not sure if you wanna do that. Well, we should do two things. We should celebrate the Beaver Creek projects for sure, right?
Yeah.
And then have something that, well, maybe not. Maybe they'll want to announce a new list of projects.
Well, a lot of it's gonna depend upon the sampling. What we finally get out of the sampling, which happens, a year after Big C comes online. And depending upon with the sampling, everything goes back to DEC and they render their opinion whether we have met the goals or not. Or is there something else that has come up that they want us to investigate?
Well, I'm sure that'll take them a long time to chew over that.
Yeah.
And you won't want to base anything on 1 year's sampling period either.
Well, I think by the time that decision gets done, we will not be working, for the people that we're currently working for, so, yes.
Andrew and I.
Sorry.
Right, right. Yeah, I can't wait for the whole new list of projects. Yeah, yeah.
I'm an optimist. I think we did better than we were supposed to.
Okay. Like,
I think we got some very good screening at both the Beaver Creek project and our other floatables projects, and with the counties putting in their disaffection. I think it should be good. We still had some mysterious stuff that I'm not sure what it was that was occurring by the port, but it's maybe something that have to be investigated at the port. I'm not sure.
That wouldn't surprise me. I think we're going to go through a round of sampling. Then I think that there may be some blips. And I think we're going to be asked to investigate those blips. So, yeah, but again, these aren't things that are going to happen overnight. It's all going to take time to try to figure out what's happening because of those blips.
So that's project updates. Do we have any other business?
Just a reminder, if you haven't done so, the annual financial disclosure forms, send those in, scanned copies would be fine.
And then John, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Andrew,
I'll second.
Gary, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, everybody have a good St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah,
That's this weekend.
that's right.